Welcome to Gary's Graveyard Gramblings. And I'm on the south side of the church today on a very dreary, misty, damp, rainy March morning. Do you know what? I've just noticed something. A piece of very old graffiti on the church. Look at that, look. 1837. Somebody did something illicit on the church wall. Isn't that disgusting? And look, we're at Margaret's bench. Oh, and oh dear, there we go. Hello, it's been an age. And welcome to episode 40 of the Graveyard Gramblings. Oh, I don't even know where to put myself. Just try and get myself a little bit comfortable for this one. Now, I should explain that I did promise a special location for a potential episode 40 because it feels like what kind of a birthday is it? What's a 40th anniversary? Is it gold? Is it silver? Is it ruby? Is it cloth? Is it denim? Is it pudding? I don't know. What is it? But whatever it is, I made it to episode 40. It's debatable whether any of you lot did. Probably not, because I'm talking to myself, I think, half the time. But I don't really care. I find it cathartic to have these little chats with my friends around. And normally, of course, I'm round the back with Mr. John. But I'm with Mr. Samuel and with Margaret on her bench today. So, I wasn't planning to do this. That's what I usually do these, as if that wasn't blindingly obvious to anyone that's ever sat through one, when I least expect it. And I do it in one take. So if anything happens, it's San Ferry Ann. Last time I did it, I was halfway through it, and a woman with a dog walked right in front of me, and I just had to carry on regardless. She looked at me like I was something off of her shoe. Probably left there by her dog, funnily enough. Any roader, that's not the reason for this. The reason for this is because and betwixt and bewith that I was in grammar school records. This is going to be the subject of today. Is going to be strange finds at the record shop and a banana story. Now, I haven't really planned it. It's just that while I was walking here, because it's a long old walk, you know, and I'm getting on. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. I'm more of a pullet these days. But so I was just thinking about these things, and I thought, oh, F it. I'll go into the graveyard and do one. Watch it back on the way home, and if it's any good, I'll put it out. If it's not, I'll bin it. You know, everyone's a winner. And so, yeah, I'm in Grammar School Records, which is a fine second-hand record shop in Rye, in East Sussex, in my hometown. And talking to the lovely Matt there. And I'm having a flick through the new arrivals there, the new records, and I found the album I Love Men by Kitt. Now, I've told my Kitt stories on here before, so that won't come as any big surprise to any of you lot. And I wrote about it in my now defunct book, which is available from me, by the way. If you want a copy, because I don't think you'll find it anywhere online else, just pop me a message or something and we'll come to some arrangement. And I have a couple of copies in my wardrobe, which I'll happily sign and then send on to you for a small remuneration. There it is, I Love Men, this album cover. This album by Kitt from 1984, I think. And it's bright red colour. In fact, it's this, what I'm putting on the screen now. And I don't know, I just thought to myself, well, I don't have that in my record collection, and I really should, given the fact that Eartha and I had a little bit of a sesh together in her dressing room. No, not that type of thing, but you know what I mean. We had a chat and we did the show together with my mate Steve Grant from Tight Fit. Oh, incidentally, Steve Grant's Tight Fit and Steve Grant and the girls in Tight Fit have a new album out on download. It's fab. Please, please, please do give it a listen, give it a download, and groove to the sounds of Steve Grant and the girls in Tight Fit. Just fabulous. And there's no fee, Steve, for that plug, by the way. But then nobody watches this anyway, so it's not going to make much difference. Where the hell did I get onto that, for Christ's sake? Oh, yeah, that's right. So I Love Men, Eartha Kitt, which is what she sang, I think, on the Tube that fateful Friday. And I thought, well, yes, I'll buy it. It was only a tenner. So I went up to the counter and I plonked it over. And then the lovely Matt there said to me, "So did you notice anything strange about that album cover?" I said, "Pardon?" And I said to him, "No." And he said, "Have a look at it closely." So I had a look at it and sort of held it up, and I said, "What, the front or the back?" I didn't get what he was talking about. He said, "No, look carefully at the front and hold the album slightly up on an edge." So I did that, and all of a sudden I could see that somebody had actually taken a permanent black marker and filled in the bits of her top just above her booby-doo area and her legs. And then, so he said to me, yeah, he said, "We had that album in with a big load that we bought from somebody who'd lived in Saudi Arabia. And it even had a Rials, the currency there, sticker on the front label. But obviously," he said, that the original album cover was too racy for the Saudis. And so somebody had been employed by the record company to sit there with a black marker, going over any semblance of flesh, which will be unacceptable to the brethren there within. And this album happened to be one of them. So, of course, that only made it more attractive for me. I had to have the album then. I mean, who wouldn't? And here is a comparison of the original album cover as released here, and then the Saudi version. I'll put one that side and one that side. And if you look at them, you'll see what the difference is. Isn't this fascinating? So, and then that got me thinking that really, I mean, Eartha's album is pretty innocuous. I mean, she doesn't actually show very much on there at all. Not nary a flash of ankle. I then wondered what that person who'd been specifically employed to fill in those areas that were causing them problems, what they would do with albums like Somebody's Just Walked Past with a Dog. Can you believe it? Anyway, yeah, somebody had actually been employed to sit there with a pen going over. I mean, how many albums did he have to go over with this pen? And it's beautifully done, I have to say. I mean, he's obviously taken great care and done a great deal of looking while doing it. I mean, could you imagine? The Eartha Kitt one would have been easy, but what about some of those Roxy Music albums? I mean, I can only assume that Roxy Music didn't sell many albums in Saudi Arabia, because not only are there huge touches of booby-doos on most of their albums, but also on several of them you can quite clearly see the outlines of the ladies' maps of Tasmania. So, and then it got me thinking, who in Saudi Arabia would be buying I Love Men by Eartha Kitt? What sort of parties are they having over there? I mean, what's going on? So that was a mild amusement. I took that home with me, and I did play the album, but I have to say it hasn't aged terribly well. And in fact, bless her, Eartha's warblings and tiger sounds on that album are not, let's just say it's not her finest moment. Now, how does that link with the banana story? Well, it doesn't actually. But The banana story. Yes, I think it's because the same day I took the wife out, give her an airing, like I do, like a couple of times a year. We went to see Graham Fellows doing his John Shuttleworth show at the White Rock Theatre in Hastings. And Graham Fellows, of course, is a lovely guy. I've met him a couple of times and chatted with him, and he's a jolly decent chap, is our Graham. And, as I have said so many times before, solely responsible, uniquely responsible for the greatest rock and roll lyric ever written in a record. Of course, in the Jilted John classic of the same name, in which the lyric, "I was so upset that I cried all the way to the chip shop," appears. It doesn't get any better than that as far as I'm concerned. The man is a genius, and he still is. It was a very funny show. But during the show, he had cause a few times, I think, but a bit like me, because we are gentlemen of a certain age, to stumble over the lyrics of his own songs. But that's not particularly funny, I don't suppose, but well, it sort of is. And because he was wrapped up in the character of John Shuttleworth, there's only so many times you can get away with forgetting your lyrics and then going, "Whoo." Apologies, Graham, for that appalling John Shuttleworth exclamation. But I did feel for you, buddy, and I was marvelling at your use of the banana employ. And I was wondering how I, as an actor, could possibly think of doing the same thing, because I've been terrible at learning nines since the year dot. And on the Hardman and Hemming podcast, at which Graham recently appeared, he explained the presence of the banana in his act. And he said that what he does is he takes a banana on stage with him, and then if he ever forgets his words or can't remember what's going on, he simply stops, takes out the banana, peels it, starts eating it, does a bit of banter with the audience, and he said that gives me time to think about where I was and what I'd forgotten. And I thought, wow, that's bloody brilliant. I could have done that when I was playing Fagin in Oliver and I couldn't remember the words to Reviewing the Situation. Just take a banana on with you. What if you were doing something like King Lear or Hamlet or something like that, and you're in the middle of "Oh, what a rogue peasant slave am I," and suddenly you can't remember what's coming next? Whip out a banana. Stand there, just chew for a bit, let the audience try and figure out what's going on. Well, if it's Shakespeare, that's what they're going to be doing anyway. And then find your place, and there you are. Mind you, having said that, I mean, John Shuttleworth's got such a cult following an audience. I think several times he probably said to them, he did say to them, "Where was I?" And they were happy to shout out the next line for him, which I can't quite see happening in Hamlet. So there we are. I've done Eartha Kitt, I've done a banana, and I've done, therefore, episode 40. And I'm not even going to mess about today. I shall simply say, see you for episode 41, possibly in somewhere a bit more interesting than Margaret's Bench in the mist, and say, salute.